Sanni, and joining us again is Jack Hoban. How are you?
Good to be here, man. Good to be here.
Obviously, this week we're going to be, and every week, we're going to be delving into the biggest sports stories of the week. And this week, the biggest sports story is we have to start with this Lukaku deal. So obviously, Everton and Manchester United, there are reports saying that they've both agreed a fee of 75 million. The deal isn't done yet, with obviously Jose hoping to speed the process up with the upcoming tour that's in America right now.
Yeah.
So with the preseason tour, so again, was he worth it? Is he worth it? I mean, is this a miss for Chelsea, or because of the fee, or is this another masterstroke from Jose or Mino Raiola?
Well, first things first, with Lukaku's deal, United are going out to LA for their pre-season tour. They want to do the medical out in LA because Lukaku's out there currently on holiday, and they and they want Lukaku to then join up with the squad once they arrive. Problem is, they've agreed the initial fee of 75 million, but Everton are holding out for more money through add-ons.
And so they should be.
They want it to be going up to 90 million with add-ons. Which is the stumbling block for United. Is he worth it? 75 million, of course he isn't. But when you see some of the prices that have been thrown around right now, Morata's a similar price. Torino, they're standing by their buyout clause for Belotti, which is 80+ mil. None of these players are worth the prices, but the problem is there's a real lack of strikers the top clubs can go for at the moment. Chelsea are finding this very difficult.
Firstly, and also we have to obviously be mindful of the new TV deals that's happening now.
Oh yeah, of course.
Clubs have the money to splash. So where 10 years ago, if you did hear the 18, 19 million, it was the one-off of Ronaldo. It was the Kaka. It was just the one-offs.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be desensitized to the sort of fees now because of the money that's being flown around. So. We was sort of Leicester as well. They broke the bank a couple of times last year. So,
but with this kind of money thrown around, you'd expect to get someone that's the finished product. Lukaku's not the finished product. Even if he'd gone to Chelsea, he still wouldn't have been the finished product. However, he is a proven striker in the Premier League.
So
25 goals last season. There isn't many better out there to get.
Okay, so he isn't the finished product, but he's a proven Premier League scorer. It's a bit contradictory.
Well, it's not, because he's not world class.
He isn't.
He has the potential to be world class, but his touch is not good. His touch is not good.
I can't even deny that.
He's, for how
What's that joke
for how big? Oh. On Twitter, there was a tweet going around saying reports that Lukaku's deal to Chelsea's back on track now, but his touch this morning took him to Manchester.
I can't. That's
his touch is bad. His touch is bad. For how strong he is, sorry, for how big he is, he's not actually that strong in terms of his build-up play. His actual ability in terms of dribbling is not brilliant, but he's a target man, and he will get you goals. And if you look at how United played last season and how Mourinho likes to play, they will use him as their striking force in terms of crossing. You've got Valencia on as a fullback. You've got Pogba. You've got Mkhitaryan that can put balls in. They will just use him as a focal point. So it will work.
As soon as I saw this, I thought, look, Lukaku power, Martial/Rashford pace. We could be going back into the times where we were destroying teams, potentially. We'll see. I mean, with this potential Lukaku deal, we are guaranteed goals. He will give us goals. It might, like you said, he might have a little couple touches here and there, but he will give us goals in the Premier League. Let me just talk about the Premier League. He will give us, if he's going off the seasons he's had before, at least 20 goals, which is something that would, firstly, get us into guaranteed top 4, even though I want us to go for the league. So it can at least give us more of a challenge for the league. In terms of Champions League, I don't know. A lot of those players are still young. Yes, Pogba has Champions League experience, but with the price tags on his head and Lukaku, we'll see. We don't know what the dynamics of the team are going to be next year.
I still don't think he guarantees you top 4. I think you still need more.
Lukaku is enough for us to get into the top 4. I think with him, it will actually challenge and be okay for the league, I
Well,
guess.
you've got to remember, you're taking away Zlatan
So,
as well. So you're
we
taking
are-
away
yeah.
Zlatan's goals. So saying, like, using the argument, oh, Lukaku's goals will get us into the top 4, isn't exactly correct.
He'll get us to
It's
challenge
a
us
massive
for the league.
signing for you, but
Yeah.
you still need more for you to be guaranteed top 4. I mean, it's going
We
to
are
be...
guaranteed top 4 next year. I think so.
That's you.
But in terms of
You've got to remember,
Lukaku's
Arsenal have improved
production,
as well. Liverpool are improving.
That's true, but in terms of it, like, that's what I'm saying. in
I
the
don't
Premier League,
think
it'll be okay
Arsenal,
for us.
Liverpool, United can all say they're guaranteed top 4.
Liverpool are playing in the Champions League next year. We saw before.
So are
what
you.
they- But we can cope with it. Liverpool have been very sporadic.
Oh,
So-
on what evidence in the past few years can you say you can cope with Champions League?
On what evidence?
Yeah, since Fergie's left, can you say you can cope with the Champions League?
We're
The
rebuilding.
last time you were in the Champions League,
we're rebuilding.
You finished 3rd. You went
Well,
into
we
Europa
are
League.
rebuilding.
Yeah, but you
What do you mean?
But
Like,
you're
next
saying
year?
Liverpool can't. You're suggesting Liverpool can't cope with the Champions League. But the last time
Because
you
they
were in the
can't.
Champions League, you finished 3rd in the group stage.
Mm-hmm.
You went into Europa League, and you finished 5th in the Premier
yeah,
League that
well,
season.
That's true.
Liverpool last time they were in
season-
last time they were in the Champions League, they finished 3rd in the group stage.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that next
There's no
year for
evidence
us-
for you to say
yeah, there is.
Liverpool
We just
can't cope
well,
and Manchester United can.
Well, there is, because we potentially bought a player who can propel us into deep Champions League positions next year. You know, I don't think Liverpool have enough. I think with this Lukaku signing, with the dynamics of Pogba in the team, Herrera in the team, we can go far. That is the evidence. Us signing
I don't know if I
top
agree with that.
strikers.
I think
Personally.
if you've got a front four of Firmino and then behind you've
Firmino's trash.
got that's
First
your
name
opinion.
you say is Firmino. He's trash.
You've got Mane, Coutinho, and Salah.
Great players. I can't deny.
I'm not
Great
saying they're
players.
going to be a knockout team in the Champions League, but you never know. It's luck of the draw. But to say they can't cope with Champions League football,
won't be able to.
like you have coped with Champions League
But
football, is
next
just
year
completely
we'll be
wrong.
okay.
Because
We'll be okay next
the
year.
evidence shows that
But
you
we-
haven't been able to cope with
But
Champions
next
League
year,
football.
when we actually go further than you in the Champions League, what are you going to say? Let's be realistic here.
Well,
Well, let's be realistic here.
See-
And you have more experience.
Again, of what gives you
That
the right
team
to say
dynamics.
that?
Jose is a beast manager.
A beast.
Next year,
A beast manager.
a beast manager. Oh, but he was your manager, and you won with
Yeah,
me, so I wouldn't really.
but I'm
the way
laughing
you're
at-
saying a beast manager.
I'm laughing at you saying the word beast.
He is a beast manager. What do you want to say?
I don't know where this is coming from, where you can just say, oh yeah,
I think we have enough. I think we have
you
enough.
do not have enough, no one near.
I personally think we have enough.
No, you don't.
We
you,
do have
You need
enough.
another midfielder. You need
We're
another
okay.
winger.
We're okay.
You can't be serious.
That's just for me, man. That's just for me. man.
Carrick ain't going to be able to play 38 games next season.
No, but he can.
So what,
He's
Fellaini?
he's our new captain, and he can actually do better than what Rooney did, in my opinion, and actually tell the players what to do and how to play.
But you don't have a
coaching
defensive
Pogba.
midfielder after Carrick.
After Carrick.
Yeah, who can play the defensive midfield role?
Well,
As
we
a
haven't
si-
sold Fellaini yet.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
So-
saying. You need a defensive midfielder.
But obviously,
So
if the match deal goes through, though, we're still. I'm not too sure if that's.
But that's-
gonna go
but
through
that's
yet,
what I'm
'cause
saying.
No one's
You-
been talking about that yet.
You
but-
still need more. Mourinho still clearly wants another winger with the Perisic ongoing talks. He still clearly doesn't trust Martial, and you can't rely on Rashford on the wing.
I mean, it depends. It's
You
subjective.
clearly need more, and you need a left back.
It's subjective, man.
You need a left back because maybe Darmian.
He's a solid player.
Luke Shaw isn't favoured.
Yeah. He gave him a chance last year.
He didn't really give him much of a chance.
He did give him a chance last year when
He
he
slated
played.
him more on TV and post-match interviews.
But that's why I like Jose, because these new social media footballers, and yeah, I might be taking a dig at Pogba here, who dab, who do all this stuff on social media, do play it on the pitch. Your production's on the pitch. That's what you're getting paid for, to play on the pitch. All this other stuff is excess. Play on the pitch, and then you can do all the excess stuff afterwards. Who cares? That's just it. So in my opinion, when he comes out,
never used to slate players behind.
But I like that. I
that's
like
wrong.
that because then it just shows you're a weak-minded player. Sorry.
I think it shows him to be. I think it shows him to be a worse manager in recent times. You look at Real Madrid.
Even with Chelsea as well.
That was one of his biggest problems at Chelsea. But you look at that final season when he was publicly slating players. He completely lost the dressing room.
And it was not doing it maliciously. He's doing it to improve the squad. At the end of the day, they're adults. They're men.
Yeah, I know, but
and he's saying that you guys are playing bad. You need to play better in order to defend our title.
You say that privately. You don't say it in front of the media.
Well,
it never ends well. You look at Real Madrid. What happened to him with Real Madrid? Casillas, Arbeloa, and Ramos. You look at what happened at Chelsea with him, with Hazard, Diego Costa, Fabregas. There are other players as well. You're looking at Manchester United with Smalling and Luke Shaw, albeit Shaw and Smalling aren't the big players at Manchester United, but it's still not a smart move because you start alienating players. And he's always done this in his He's always done this in his career.
It's a different time though.
With Mourinho, the players that he gets on with, he will improve so much. But at the same time, there are players that just get completely cut away. And
I understand that, but most managers do that though. When they make them play for an under-21 side, train an under-21 side.
Well, yeah, but
let them park.
He now has a track record of it going wrong in his last 2 jobs.
I remember, I'll never forget this. I think Drogba said this, and he was just like, there are times when Mourinho says to me that I am not playing well, I'm not playing as good as I should be, and he'll
don't get me wrong. But he doesn't say that in front of the media. He doesn't say that in the post-match interview.
In front of the media or not, like, he says the things he says, and he says, I said this to this player. That's what he did at Shaw.
Good managers say that privately.
But that doesn't
They don't let it become a thing in the spotlight because it does more damage.
Even if it's in public or it isn't in public. Like,
there's a massive difference.
But just in general for the player, though, like Drogba used to say, like this, I think Jersey was saying about Drogba that there's certain players that I could speak to in a calm way because of their character, and there's certain players that I used to give them a lot of bad,
Yeah, we're gonna have to edit.
I used to speak to them in a certain way, but I'd speak to them in a certain way because I knew it would improve them. He said with Drogba, he can say, you're playing badly, you're playing horribly, you're this, you're that, and it made him play better. Some players he couldn't do that.
But he would say that privately.
It means you're weak-minded if you can't accept it. You're a professional footballer.
There's a difference between taking stick from your manager privately and then taking stick publicly when he's not even telling it to you. He's telling it to a reporter, and it's blown up in the media, and you're reading the back pages.
But say that again, blown up in the media. Yeah. If he's saying, I don't know, Luke Shaw isn't playing.
But you can't blame the media for him saying that in a post-match interview.
But you know what journalists are like, though.
Oh, no, sorry, I can't give that.
You know what journalists are like. You can't. Especially Jose Mourinho, they want him to say something controversial. Come on, man.
You can't blame the media if he's going out of his way to say it to journalists in a post-match interview. Come on now, man. That's just biased towards your team. It is.
No, but I'm not talking about being biased there. I'm saying how there are certain players where you can say these things to them and they don't shy away. I don't know, you're a man at the end of the day. So I don't know, if you can't take criticism...
There's a difference
then
between...
don't play football.
There's a difference between getting criticised by your manager behind the scenes in a private talk, in a private conversation, and then him criticising you to Jeff Reeves and it being posted in the Daily Mail, the Telegraph and the Guardian the next day, and everywhere you go is, Luke Shaw's this, he's that, he doesn't work hard enough, and these are just all fabricated stories that are stemming from Mourinho's post-match interview.
Again, you're saying fabricated stories.
Together.
But again, fabricated stories. If he said it in a certain way and then the news fabricated it, what can he do?
He shouldn't be the one going out and providing it. That's the difference.
But he's like
Mourinho never did that at Chelsea in his first stint. He never did that in Milan.
But again,
two of his most successful spells in football.
Again, new age players. Social media wasn't social media when he was at his first stint of Chelsea. Instagram wasn't. It didn't exist. Instagram didn't exist then. Instagram probably existed during his time in Inter Milan, but still, it didn't. It wasn't
but it existed at Real Madrid, and it backfired. And it existed when he was at Chelsea,
but
and it backfired. Say, the new age players who go on social media. You've got two examples there, two clubs where it has backfired. I mean, his last stint at Chelsea, that final 6 months, it was just a domino effect of just mess up after mess up through him and the players and the board. Surely you'd learn from that.
There's the board, that I agree with that, but if you're a man take the criticism, public or not in public.
Yeah, but you're missing the point about private criticism and just throw your name out in the public. You are, though, that's the thing.
I'm not, because if I was Luke Shaw and he did that to me, and I saw that he did that in the public, I'm like, oh, do you know what? I need to fix up.
Well, no, you'd confront him and say, why didn't you say it to me privately?
But he probably did say it to him privately, though. We don't know that.
Why is he talking to Jeff Shreves about Luke Shaw when he could be talking to Luke Shaw about it?
But we don't know that he didn't speak to him in private. We can't make that assumption.
Yeah, but
he
what I'm
probably
saying
could,
is,
he probably didn't.
It never worked with Hazard. It never worked with Costa. It never worked with Casillas. It never, like, I can name 6 players.
Personally, like, that's how I would want to be managed. If someone calls me out and says, I used to play football on Sundays and I was a centre-back. If I made a mistake, it would cost the team.
What, did your manager go and talk to Jeff Shreves and say...
No, but he came up to me and said, you know what, you're one of the pillars of this team. If you mess up, it affects the team. You need to fix up. You weren't good today.
Yeah, but you were just talking about private conversation there.
But he would say in public, in half-time team talk after the game, so that Dammy...
That's in the middle between players.
But he still said it publicly.
There's a difference between saying it in the dressing room and saying it in a media newsroom.
But he still said it in front of people.
How can you compare the two?
I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying that how I like to be managed. I wasn't comparing it. I was just saying in terms of how I like to be managed and how I like the team I support and the players that I admire, I want them to be managed, is a manager to put them on the spot. You are not playing well. If it is publicly, it's public. You're not playing well. You need to fix up. You play for Man United. You need to earn your spot. This is what I'm trying to say. Social media again. Memphis Depay must have thought just because he had the season he had with his former team, he could come to Man United and just play. Martial, same thing. Just play. It's okay. I'm good enough. No, you need to earn your spot. It's not going to be given to you. So he can't shield these players. He needs to be like, look, you're whack. You're not playing well. Yes, the public thing probably isn't as good, but if that means it helps them improve and ultimately improves the team and gets a victory and a result, that's, at the end of the day, it's all for the W. So
I don't think it will work on Luke Shaw, and I think he will be at a new club within a year or two. Same for Chris Smalling.
Right, so moving on, Wayne Rooney obviously could have played a part to this potential Lukaku deal.
Oh, yeah. I think the fact that Chelsea's business with Everton in 2015 for John Stones went so sour played a role in this. I imagine Everton would have much preferred to do business with Manchester United, not only because of the Rooney deal, but also because they'd see it as easier business with Manchester United. They've dealt with them in the past without problems.
The old club as well, you know. I mean, there were reports out saying he could have gone on a free. But, I mean,
yeah, I imagine...
I don't know.
Rooney, in this Lukaku deal, I reported that Rooney is valued at 10 mil. He's going to take a massive wage cut, like we spoke in a couple of weeks ago, and it's great for Rooney. Great for Manchester United, getting rid of him.
I think it was time to go back.
Don't know if it's great for Everton. Time will tell. But
they've made some solid signings. So I don't know how Rooney's going to.
They're linked with Giroud as well.
Yeah. They're linked to it. I'm not sure if he's going to go Marseille or Everton. I don't know if he...
that's
World
down
Cup
to him.
year as well. I mean, maybe he might want to go back to France, but...
Of course.
Who knows? But I think Rooney was obviously instrumental in this potential Lukaku deal. How well he'll do for Everton.
However, the big deal breaker in this Lukaku deal has to be Raiola.
100%. 100%.
He clearly forced United's hand and went to them while Chelsea was stumbling to make a deal.
There are reports that I saw reports how Chelsea actually came with an offer and United came through the back door and said, actually, we want to offer this. And then Everton were just like, oh, okay.
It doesn't surprise me. This stinks of 2015 as a Chelsea fan watching this all happen. It's incompetence. It really is. And you can see why Antonio Conte, with reports saying he's absolutely fuming after what happened yesterday. You can see why. Because Bakayoko was meant to be done a month ago. We're slow with Rudiger. I don't know what's happening with Alexandro. I don't even know if we are even going to try and get him now. Juventus are standing by a world record fee of 60 million for a defender. Chelsea have been slow. They've been sluggish with their dealings by the sounds of things. Antonio Conte went on holiday a month ago expecting believing Van Dijk was pretty much a done deal. Far from the truth. He's had major discussions with board members and main negotiators for the club. He's expressed his frustrations, and to be quite honest, Lukaku to Manchester United is now done. If Chelsea don't put in a serious bid for Morata or someone, and this continues for the duration of July, I can see Antonio Conte walking by the end of August.
It's drastic. That's such a drastic decision. Yes, there is a lack of transfer activity for the you're obviously champions.
But it's not the first time he's done it. He walked away from Juventus in 2014 for the Italian national job, and that was down to transfers. He's demanding. He knows what he wants, and after last season, I think he has a pretty good justification for.
So after 1 year, your first year in England, you win the Premier League. There's contract disputes or lack of transfer activity disputes, and you're going to leave.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just doesn't sit right with
well,
me.
This has been going on all season.
The team he won the league with are still practically there. So
Diego Costa doesn't seem to be the same.
That's true.
So that's a big part of.
That's true. That's true. But the rest of the players are still there.
But you still need a striker.
And it's not the fact that it's the lack of transfer activity in terms of all the players you mentioned. It's just the striking department.
Oh yeah.
We said earlier on. Well, I spoke.
Well, he wants a new defender. He wants arguably 2 new defenders. He wants arguably 2 midfielders. 100%, he wants 1 midfielder. He needs squad depth. And
okay, so now let's go back to what we said. Obviously on our WhatsApp yesterday. I was saying to you, you're obviously Chelsea fans would be a bit annoyed with this lack of transfer activity. Conte's supposedly, you're saying he could walk. With all these young players and young talent, especially English players, and I understand you're the champions and it would be taking a big risk. Tammy Abraham, how many goals did he score for Bristol City last season?
But he's never played a full season in the Premier League.
Give him a chance.
Yeah, but you can't take that risk. If you're Chelsea, you're fighting for the Premier League and the Champions League.
But you can't say you need a striker and then you sign him and then learn him straight away. Chalobah, looking to sell him.
Chalobah.
Sorry, yeah, Chalobah.
He's a midfielder.
And you said you needed a midfielder.
Yeah, I know, and I don't understand this.
Nathan Ake, top class player in my opinion.
Well,
there you go.
I'm not sure if he's a top class. He's got great potential. But we've also got Zuma, Christensen.
You got to start giving.
Aspilicueta, Cahill, and Luiz.
Look, I was actually gonna compare it to obviously Fergie.
I think to be quite honest, I think that Tammy, for you saying Tammy, we should go with Tammy Abraham as our main striker next season.
Try him. To
be quite honest, I think that's absolutely ludicrous.
But I'm not saying to play him every single game.
As a Manchester United fan, would you want only Rashford to be your main striker?
I'd allow him to give him a chance.
No Lukaku.
But
no Morata.
Our dynamic is different.
You've been crying.
Our dynamic is different from yours. It's different from yours.
I don't know how you can pull that card. You've been crying out all summer for Harry Kane, Lukaku, and Morata, and we need a striker to replace Diego Costa. And you're there going, yeah, you should use Tammy Abraham as your leading striker.
But no, okay. So let me just restate it. Let me
put it this way: Tammy
Abraham a chance. I'm not saying lead. I didn't say leading striker. I'm saying you're talking about lack of transfer.
But what
activity.
we're doing is we're giving him.
Tammy Abraham is there, and you've loaned him out.
We're loaning
him a chance.
We're loaning him to Swansea, where he will most likely start most of their games, instead of him being the third striker at Chelsea, where he will not start many games.
He'll come, but he can still make a difference.
So he's going to get Premier League experience.
Look, man, I'm just saying you can't talk about lack of transfer activity and then loan a start.
How can you compare?
I'm just saying.
Tammy Abraham hasn't started a single game in the Premier League.
So how do you make him start? Give him the chance.
We are. He's going to Swansea.
No, but for Chelsea though, he's a Chelsea player. You just signed him. You signed a 5-6 year deal. So do you want to turn on your investment at least?
We are going to get a return on the investment. We've just sold Bertrand Traore for 8 million. Nathan Ake's gone for 20 million.
In terms of signing a new contract, and you're obviously going to pay him whatever you're going to pay him.
He's just signed a 5-year deal.
And then you lend him straight out to Swansea, even though you needed a striker.
He's 19 years old.
Give him a chance.
Yeah, but I don't think you're grasping this.
Okay, Lukaku's going to happen again to you then. How about that?
What's that?
Lukaku will happen again. Is this not Lukaku will live again?
We've got we've actually got buyback clauses on our players.
That's true, but you didn't give him a chance. Well, you did. He probably was still young, loaned him out, sold him.
Do you know which
and now
manager
you're gonna-
didn't give him a
so-
chance? Guess which manager did?
I don't know what Lukaku
Yeah. Guess which manager didn't give him a chance at Chelsea?
At Chelsea. Who was it? What, Jose? I think it was Jose. Yeah. But that was what, 2012, 2011. So it's 2017 now. It's a different time now.
It's 2013, 2014.
When he first came,
Guess
you guys...
Guess which manager didn't give a
didn't-
chance on De Bruyne?
Exactly. So if you're not giving these guys a chance now,
Your manager.
De Bruyne,
Yeah, he didn't give a chance at De Bruyne either.
well, he doesn't play for us, so it's a
No,
different
I'm just
time.
saying. I mean, it's funny how you're criticising Chelsea when
I'm
your
just saying.
manager.
Well, he was, yeah, but he's the manager of Man United, not Chelsea.
No, I'm just saying.
He was
It's
the-
funny
he was the
how you.
manager of Chelsea. At the time.
Oh, so now
you can't
his
criticise
philosophy
us.
now he's Man
No,
United.
how?
His philosophy's
But
completely
Rashford
changed.
actually had games last season, though. So what are you on about?
When
We have-
Zlatan was injured, Mourinho would never start him striker for Zlatan.
He wouldn't, but I'm saying give him... I'm not... Look, let me just say this.
So what
let
is
me
the
reiterate
difference?
this. Tammy Abraham shouldn't start for Chelsea, but I'm saying give him a chance.
Oh, I would have liked him to be
That's what I'm
part
trying
of the
to say.
squad.
But don't say you need a striker and then loan one out who scored
Yeah, but that's
20 plus
completely
goals last
irrelevant.
year. That
Yeah, in the
doesn't make sense.
Championship.
But it's still form though.
No, because you're playing in a completely different league against different quality.
Give him a chance, is all I'm saying.
Should we
Give
call?
him a chance.
Should we play Lewis Baker instead of Cesc Fabregas because he played well in the Dutch league?
And give him a chance. Dude, look, how these young players... Look, okay, look. Look, Tammy Abraham, there are rumblings that Nigeria might tap him up in the international stage, correct? So if you're not going to give these English homeborn players a chance, if they go elsewhere, you can't be mad. You can't be. Because what's the point? I'm not playing for Chelsea. That ultimately means I won't really have a chance in playing for... Well, no, I won't just relegate it to top teams. But if I don't get playing time...
How have you managed to move this from
But I'm saying in terms
not
of
playing for
time,
Chelsea to not playing for England?
because in terms
He's
of
19
not,
years
but in
old and
terms
he
of
hasn't
not-
played a single game in the Premier League yet.
But what I'm trying to say is that if you don't give these
Why
guys
don't we
a
wait?
chance,
Why don't we just wait a minute, see how he does this season before we
Okay.
analyse this?
wait, see how he does, you're not gonna... But let's just say he doesn't get the chance
Right,
at
put
Swansea.
it this way.
Let's just say he doesn't
No,
get the
no.
chance at
Stop,
Swansea.
stop.
What's
Stop,
gonna happen
stop,
then?
stop,
Oh,
stop.
he hasn't progressed, so what now?
Let me
we'll
speak.
loan him out again.
Let me speak. Hold
Go
on,
back
hold
to
on. Let me
Bristol
speak.
City. Learn him out, it doesn't do well. What? So what?
Let me
you're just gonna
speak.
keep
Let me
loaning
speak.
him out?
Let me speak.
Hey,
Right.
And he goes to Everton and does what? Okay, cool.
Right. Fifth time. Let me speak.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Diego Costa. He won us 15 points last season in the grand schemes of things for Chelsea winning the league. He's borderline world class. For us to compete in the Premier League and try and win the Premier League again and compete in the Champions League, you need someone that is either better or is just a bit under his level.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So there we go. That's it. We need someone that's
Cool.
closer to his level.
But you can't keep saying this is why I brought England into it.
The only games Tammy Abraham would have started if he was part of the squad this season would have been cup games. He's going to Swansea.
You said to me...
We're linked with Llorente to be the third striker or second striker, depending on batch-wise status.
Look, man, if you guys
And-
don't do a title defence like 2 or 3 years ago when you were in shambles, you can't say... Look, you need to try it.
Wait, so if
You
we
need to try
if we flop, it's because we
Yeah.
loaned out Tammy Abraham.
No, it's because you're not given chances to... You need to
bloody
try
rubbish.
everything. But you need to try everything.
Yeah, but
if
we
things aren't
need-
working, you need to try things.
Yeah, but just because we
Not
didn't
just
get
the Tammy
Lukaku
Abraham
doesn't
thing.
mean you have to start Tammy Abraham.
No,
I don't think
it
you
means Giving
understand.
young players a chance. No, I only use Tammy Abraham as an example. You said before about this Lee Mount guy.
We are
This Lee Mount guy. you said,
Mason Mount.
I'm sorry.
He's
Mason
18
Mount.
years old.
Okay, and I said no one will ever hear of him. That's the truth.
But you look
You
at
said, oh, he's amazing attacking mid. No one's gonna ever hear of him. Sorry, but unless you're Chelsea
people
fan,
slate Chelsea's academy, yet we have one of the best academies in the world right now in terms of profits.
and
We have one of
But did
we
they-
have one of the best ongoing academies in terms of financial output.
they don't play for
which
Chelsea,
is why
though.
Manchester City is trying to copy us.
But they
which is
don't-
why Barcelona are looking at how we're doing things. Because what we do is we bring in talent, we make sure they get a chance professionally, whether they make it at Chelsea or not, they are guaranteed a chance to make it professionally. You can grunt all you like, but we are making profit of this. You look at Atsu, in for 2.5 million,
So-
out for 8 million. You look at...
But the whole
You look
point of
at-
the academy is
you
to
look at
try and feed
Ake.
them into the first team, though,
But
not
we're
just to sell them
but
off.
as
and not
the
give
way
them a
we do
chance.
things,
That's the whole point of
which
the
has
academy.
worked, by the way, The way we do things is we make profit off our players, no matter what. Ake, 20 million. We've got a buyback
Brilliant
clause.
player.
Bertrand Traore, he's gone out for 8 million. We've got a buyback clause. Christensen or Zuma might be next. I don't know. The only player recently that I can think of that we haven't been able to make money off is Solanke, and we're still going to get about 2 million maybe off the tribunal fee.
Look, if these players do well,
And you can slate our academy all you want.
I'm not slating it.
No, but
I'm just saying how
the way
they're not.
you can slate the way our club runs, but at the same time, this not giving players a chance. Well, the way we do things in the past since 2010, we've won 3 Premier League titles, a Europa League, a Champions League,
And what
2 FA Cups.
What British player have you brought out to the limelight the same way we've done with Rashford?
You've just named one player out. Can you name another one?
Okay, because I know how this is going to go when I say his name, but in terms of just from the academy and pushing to the first team, you can say it doesn't matter how good they are, whatever. Welbeck, Cleverley, who won the league in 2013. Who else? I won't count Phil Jones because he wasn't.
Okay, so if you're going to use Cleverley, we can use Chalobah then.
Chalobah?
Who won the league.
But how many games did he start? Was Cleverley not integral to that?
Sorry, where's Cleverley right now?
He's plays for Watford, or wherever he's going.
How many seasons did he play for Manchester United?
Listen, 2013, Cleverley, academy player, played first team football alongside of Carrick, won the Premier League. That's what I'm trying to say. Giving players a chance.
Paul Scholes played alongside as well.
Cool, but we still gave him a chance.
Yeah,
we still
but
allowed him to play. But
Chalobah played games.
But not as consistently as Cleverley in that year.
Cleverley didn't play a lot. Scholes,
he did play a lot that year.
He rotated with Scholes.
But Cleverley played a lot that year, more than Chalobah played this year.
Obviously, but what I'm saying is...
So if you got to give this player... And we could have bought a centre mid that year. We didn't have to start Cleverley.
You did, you bought Kagawa.
We didn't have to play Cleverley. We could have bought more players better than him. But no, let's give him a chance.
Oh no, you spent 25 mil on us, centre mid.
Let's give him a chance. We gave him a chance when we won the league that year with Cleverley. If rotation player starting whatever, he got games that year. And I'm trying to say is that give these players a chance.
But you did buy a midfielder that year. We could have bought a midfielder, but you did.
Cool, but okay, we could not have started him, and we did start him in the games we'd started him in. So he still had a lot of string of games that year. I remember specifically because everyone keeps telling us we won the league with Cleverley. Yeah, we did. We gave him a chance.
What I'm trying to say is
what do you want us to do?
This idea that every other club just brings in tons and tons of English players is false.
I didn't say that, but I'm just saying.
The only team I can see that has had a massive output of English players right now is Tottenham in the past 7 years.
Yeah, and like the bulk of their players, well, if they're fit, play for England. And that's why it's an England thing, because it starts from club academic level. Start them, give them a chance, let them break into the first team, i.e. Harry Kane.
But with the way the Premier League is now,
that's how it works.
With the way the Premier League is now and the money that's been thrown around, the top clubs can't afford to do it.
Then it's a wrap for a country.
The only reason Rashford was given a chance was because you had no other striker. So Van Gaal didn't have a choice.
And
he took his chance.
That's true.
But there's been times where players haven't taken their chance.
But you can't just give... Look, and this isn't just about Chelsea, and this is about clubs in general. You can't just give a player one chance.
Oh, no.
That's not fair. Because you're not even being faithful to the player. Dude, man, he's probably been there since like 9 or 10 years old. You're thrusting him straight into a first-team action. Give him a chance to mess up. It's okay to have a whack Lukaku touch every now and again. It's okay, because you're still a youth player, you're still learning. So... that's just where my thing is with that's I only brought Tammy Abraham as an example.
I just think that's ridiculous, though, to be quite honest.
The only way to get experience.
If you were going to say like have him as in the squad for next season, if that's what you're saying,
yes.
See, I assumed you were saying as our main striker.
No, not as the main striker.
See, I wanted him as
a 2 or 3.
Yeah, I wanted that, but then I realised he's probably better off this season at Swansea. Because Llorente could be going to us to be the third striker, where he won't play a lot, and he's fine with that. He's going to come into Chelsea to be the experienced player because we don't have that many now. He's got a great relationship with Conte. He knows what Conte wants in his players, and he's just going to be there to be the level heads to fill in if an injury or a suspension comes along. Abraham's going to be at Swansea. Llorente's gone. There's a vacant spot for the striker, the leading line at Swansea, and they've got Tammy Abraham. For Abraham, that's brilliant.
Well, we'll see how things go. Well, another potential transfer, is Alexis Sanchez. I mean, he's still at Arsenal. He's demanding 400 grand a week. Obviously, City is sniffing around. I don't know if Chelsea obviously doesn't live to Chelsea as well.
Yeah, this is basically saying, pay me or I'm gone.
He's just holding him for ransom.
He's just thrown a ridiculous...
Basically, yeah.
It's just a ridiculous amount. Arsenal are never going to pay that. No club in the Premier League is going to pay that.
Is this his way of forcing his way out of Arsenal?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And Arsenal are looking at Lamar, the Monaco left mid. They've had a bid rejected.
Yeah,
They're looking at improving that to 35 million. He comes in, that's pretty much Sanchez gone. Because then it'll be Lamar, Lacazette, and then your right winger. Which Sanchez has really only played on the left and strike in the past 2 seasons.
Is he worth 400 grand a week?
No, he's not.
But in terms of keeping your top players,
no.
What he's done for them in the last 2 to 3 years...
Not a chance. 100% not a chance. You do not pay that.
He isn't worth 400 grand, but for the time that Arsenal are in right now, they dropped out of the top 4 for the first time in years.
Oh, yeah.
They want to go back into that top 4 status. They want to go back to the Champions League. They want to fight for the league.
Yeah, but asking for 400 grand a week is a slap in the face because you are basically
losing
saying,
your top players. It could spark Ozil leaving, possibly. So you just
not
don't.
a huge problem.
It's not a huge problem, but in terms of keeping top players and attracting top players.
Well, they've just spent 50 million on Lacazette. That's a big deal.
That is a big deal, but
and he's gonna be a big success. That's probably one of the best. Yeah. That's probably one of the best deals we've seen so far. I mean, you're looking at 75 million for Lukaku, and they've just got Lacazette for 45 to 50 million.
Proven though. I'm not saying Lacazette isn't proven in the Premier League. He's a proven striker in the French league, different league. Lukaku's proven in the Premier League.
Lacazette's also played in Europe.
In the Premier League.
Lukaku's never played in Europe.
In the Premier League.
Oh, sorry, no, he's played in Europe. He's played in Europa League in the group stage.
He has played in Europe. He played for Anderlecht. That's in Europe. He was young.
He signed for Chelsea when he was 18, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't really play much in Europe, mate.
He played for Anderlecht. What are you on about? Europe is in Champions League or Europe is in outside England? Europe.
Champions League. Oh, you're on about like actual other leagues? Yeah. I'm on about European football.
Oh, dude, I'm so confused there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, he hasn't then. Yeah, that's true. But that's why Lukaku will get goals. In the big games, I'm not too sure about Lukaku in the big games because he kind of fades off. So
you're paying 75 million for that. That's a massive worry. It's why I've actually said that I prefer Morata. However, Lukaku is a Premier League proven striker. That's why I say he's not the finished article yet, because he's still only 23, 24 years old.
But look, that's why you said before about like this, because this is where the contradiction lies in me. You can't be a proven Premier League striker and not be the finished article.
Well, he's a proven in the sense that he can get you 20 plus goals a season.
But isn't that a proven striker?
But he hasn't done it. But he hasn't done it in the big games.
He hasn't. He fades off in big games, and that's my worry.
That's why you've got that gap where he's proven in the Premier League because he can guarantee you 20 plus goals, but he's not the finished product because he can't do it in the big games just yet. Maybe he can do it with a better team around him.
That makes sense. I'm scared about the Champions League because we're in it, and we potentially have a very good striker.
Well, you think you're going further than any English club?
We are.
Isn't that a bit of a contradiction?
Okay, honestly,
I'm scared of the Champions League, but we're going to go further than any English club.
I'm scared in terms of him not turning up.
No, I'd be.
Hence why I would have preferred Ibrahimovic to have stayed. Yeah. But fair enough, innit?
Well, Zlatan wouldn't have been able to play for you.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Going back to Alexis, I reckon Arsenal should pay him. Just pay him.
No
they need to break their wage structure to keep this player who has been consistent for them.
Oh, God,
so, all right, it's not something they usually do, but what else are they going to do? Buy Lamar?
Yeah.
He's a good player, but
I know,
I know. Sanchez.
Obviously not, but it's 400k per week. No chance. No way. That's a slap in the face to the club. It really is.
Right, man. Okay, so that's our football rumours for this week. So now let's talk tennis. It's day 5 of Wimbledon Championships, and today 4 British players hope to book a place into the 4th round next week. You be watching tennis? There's plenty of technical action as well.
I've been watching the interviews.
We'll get to that in a sec. So there's plenty of centre court action as world number 1 Andy Murray takes on Italian Fabio Fognini, and current world number 59 Azad Bedene is playing Luxembourg's João Muller, ranked 16th in the world. In the women's singles, Heather Watson will play Belarusian Victoria Azarenka, and lastly, Joanna Conte faces Greek's Maria Sakkari on court 1. I will give you the latest scores on the games, if you just bear with me. It'd be better if I had a laptop, but shout out to him. So Bedene has lost the... Let me just say that again. So, so Bedene just ran away from me. So Bedene and Muller. Muller took the first set 7-6. He also took the second set 7-5, and he is winning the third set, losing the third set 2-1. Watson is just won the first set, and she lost the second set. And lastly, we will go to... Oh no, that's all the games. All right, so that's all the games for now. So right now, we're doing British football, we're doing okay so far. Obviously, we've still got Andy Murray to play. And Venus is on later on as well, so we'll keep up to date with that. And Joanna Konta, she just came for a very, very tough second round match. She, against Donna Vekic, I watched that game, very, very good game. You can tell they played each other in the tournament before Wimbledon as well. Joanna Konta actually lost that game, but it was a very good game, very equally matched. But yeah, it was good to see that Joanna Konta actually came out of that game. But the most controversial thing this week in tennis, especially at Wimbledon, was actually Australian player Bernard Tomic. He said in a post-conference interview that he felt bored when he lost against Misha Zverev, I can't say his name, at Wimbledon. Obviously, these are very, very unusual admission by saying he felt bored in this game. But when asked, obviously, after the defeat, when asked like what was his thing after defeat, here's what he actually said.
Wasn't mentally and physically there with my mental state to perform, and I don't know why, but I felt a little bit bored out there. So, to be completely honest with you, so I tried at the end and stuff. He managed to win that set 6-3 or 6-4, but it was too late.
You thought of giving the money back?
Which money?
Prize money turning up.
Well, if you asked Federer to give back $500 million, would you do that or not?
You were just saying you were bored out there.
No, we all work for money. At 34, maybe I could donate to charity, but if you ask Roger if he'll do it, I'll do it.
So would you donate it to charity?
Well, if Roger can Novak, these guys do it, I will, no problem.
So have you ever felt like that before in a game?
Many times in my career, and I'm sure you guys know that.
So obviously staying with tennis, Australian player Bernard Tomic obviously just said in his post-match interview or conference that he felt bored and he could not find the motivation during his straight sets defeat. Obviously, do you think that players should give their money back?
No, not a chance.
If they lose, because obviously
they're professionals.
The person who asked him questions said obviously you
yeah, I saw that interview. I didn't
you obviously
quite
lost.
like her interviews. Questions, sorry.
You didn't play as well as you should have done. You're saying you're bored. Now, should you give the money back? Obviously, his response was, should Federer, Djokovic, all these players, should they give the money back?
He's a professional athlete. He does this as a living. It's his job at the end of the day.
But
I can see why people question the desire, the passion.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
If you actually watch the full interview like we did, you see that some of the content on BBC was taken out of context.
Widely out of context.
And he was basically saying he's fallen out of love with the sport.
That's the full interview,
and he's struggling to find motivation.
So in that time...
to play. And he needs to find that motivation to get him going again.
And that's fine.
It's brutally honest. I mean, you've got to respect him in that sense.
In that time, if he...
I can see why people are very annoyed by these comments. Because people...
I don't see why, though.
Because people work so hard to get into this sport, whether you're a journalist, whether you're working around the sport or actually a player.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a professional athlete. He does this job for a living. It's what puts food on the table. I don't have a problem.
The only firstly, let me just dissect this here.
He definitely shouldn't give his money back, that's for sure.
This is my take on this. Firstly, the only people who can actually actively give their opinion about this are former tennis players.
Oh, yeah.
If you're just a sports journalist, and it's weird because obviously this is what we want to get into, but if you've never actually picked up a tennis racket and you've never played, you shouldn't really be speaking because we don't know.
Plus, you don't know the mindset of a professional.
Laura Robson. Do you know Laura Robson? Okay, so she's a tennis player, female tennis player.
Yeah.
She's British as well. She just come back from injury, and on her road to obviously being fit, she's obviously had to go around the world, not really recovering as well as she should have. Obviously, she should have been better than what she is now because she obviously had a lot of hype back in the day. We don't know what they're mentally thinking.
Oh, exactly.
He's obviously Australian. We don't know if he's a family man. We don't know if he's homesick. And obviously this talent has taken him across the world. Maybe he doesn't want to play tennis, but he has to because maybe he has to maintain a certain
Well, I
lifestyle.
imagine he
Maybe
definitely
wants to
had the
keep-
love for the sport, and by the sounds of the interview, he's just starting to fall out of love. And
Maybe
that
it's the
he-
politics
and
as
that
well.
he's
We see
look-
this with NFL players
and
a
that
lot.
he's just
So-
trying to find that motivation again.
But at the same time, if you're obviously going to give him money to play in a tournament, why would he not take it?
Oh, of course.
This is where obviously I agree with you, where the lady said, would you give the money back? Why the hell would he give the money back? Would she give her money back if she had an off day as being a journalist and she had to wake up at 7 a.m. and do an interview? Would you give your money back? No. So why are you asking people if they're feeling down or not in love with a certain thing to give their money back? That's such a really idiot thing to say. I'm sorry. And I love how he clapped back and said, well, you know, ask Federer and Djokovic the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Have they not felt that, you know, Djokovic had a nice 4 or 5 year run. He fell off the number one ranking. Do you not feel that? And he just had a kid as well. Do you not think that maybe there's probably rumblings on it? He said that, oh, should I really do this? I just fell out. Nadal and Federer just won titles this year. Murray's kind of number one. Do you not think he's thinking that?
No.
You never
Because
know.
when
But
you
in his head, he must be like maybe a glimpse, like
maybe,
oh, I
but
fell off
when
a little bit.
but
What
when
the
you
hell? Am
are
I as
that
good as I
elite,
think I am?
when you are that elite of an athlete, all you think about is championships.
But you can't dictate how someone spends their money. You can't
of
dictate
course.
how people think. You can't dictate people's actions. If that is what Bernard Tomic is saying, and he's saying, I fell out of love with the sport, I need to reevaluate the situation and be like, do you know what? This is why I need to fall in love with it. If it means he needs to go back to Australia to soul search and actually, like, I don't know, link up with his old coaches when he was 5 or something like that, to be like, do you know what? Like, maybe I need to link up with you guys because you're the reason why I fell in love with tennis and you're not around me anymore and I need that around me. Maybe you need to link up with old coaches.
That's a very good point.
Old advisors, because maybe they're the reason. But if they're not around them anymore, so it maybe it's even going about the people around them too. But you can't dictate that. Sorry, don't ask him idiot questions like that.
Oh,
because
completely
as an
agree.
athlete, I think Benoit Asuakoto used to say this as well, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Similar
That
thing happened to Vin.
Okoto used to say that he doesn't actually like football, he just does it for the money.
And there's rumblings how, like, he's a porn star now. I've been hearing
I mean,
stuff like that.
You're going off topic here.
Yeah, I've heard stuff like that. But look, at the end of the day, like,
He denied all accusations and said his mum was very upset with these accusations.
look, yeah.
I blame Harry Redknapp for that. He brought it up.
What maybe if you're like a hotshot lawyer or something, I don't know, you're a CEO of a company, but what profession, there's no other profession where you get this amount of money in such a short amount of time. Sorry. That's just it. Whether he's falling out of love with it or not, you're still going to get your check.
Oh, of course, 100%. He's
That's
a
just
professional
it.
athlete.
So that's just my thing on that, man. Shout out to Bernard Tomic. And also, the last thing, this is what I said about the Djokovic thing.
Oh, he's not the only
He's
one.
not the only person who's been thinking that.
In the world of sport, no, of course not.
But he's just the first person that said it publicly. That's it.
You've got to respect him for speaking his mind.
There you go.
Whether you like it or not.
There you go. So other players have felt this. Look, Federer fell off too. You know, like, dude, come on, man. Like, Federer decided to not go to the French Open and to save himself for Wimbledon. Do you not think people are, wow, you're scared? How can you do that to the sport of tennis? You're meant to be this sort of number one player. But just like, shut up, man. Like, I want to play well in Wimbledon. I'm 35 years old. My body's not, I'm not 25 anymore, you understand? So look, Bernard Tomic, shout out to you. You gave your opinion. I expect you for that. Keep going on, man. Hopefully you find your love for tennis again because you're actually a decent player. I've seen him a couple of times. He's not that. He's actually good. He has potential. He's still 24 years old. Still has time to peak.
Eight Wimbledons, and he's only 24.
Yeah, man. These lots start young though, and so this kind of is on to our next point, our last point with tennis. Like a lot of these players start young. They start young. Damn, what was her name? Marion Bartley started playing tennis at, 9, 10 years old. You're playing at, and she retired at 30 something. Like, a lot of players don't even retire at that age, but you get to a point where, like, I've been doing this my whole life, man. Like, I want a life
when
now.
when you're younger,
You know?
it's more love
There
of the
you
game.
go. You're just like, yeah, I want to wake up, and maybe that's what I'm saying. He needs to find that love again. And, dude, man, they start young. Yeah. Like you said, he's 24, but obviously he probably would have done that in juniors as well. But look, you just need to cut these guys some slack, man. And going back to what you're saying about the full interview, which you should actually watch the full interview, not the 50-second clip that BBC decided to put out. Obviously, he said, you know, I just need to find love again. I need to get love again, and it's tiring. You know, like going from places like if you're a casual tennis fan, you'll probably know that there's only 4 Grand Slams. But I like tennis quite a bit. There's always loads of tournaments in between. There's ATP Masters. There's like certain tournaments where you need to get certain ranking points as well. Like, so you're traveling the world, man. Like, if you're away from your family or whatever. But all right, shout out to Ben and Tomic, man. Shout out to Ben and Tomic. We see you, man. We see you. Right, now moving on to the NBA. There's been another blockbuster trade this week in the NBA. Massive, massive trade. Small forward Gordon Hayward has been traded from the Utah Jazz to the Boston Celtics. However, there have been loads of obviously big blockbuster trades this offseason. But who do you think will make the bigger or
Crowder's
biggest...
gone the other way, hasn't he?
The who?
Crowder's gone the other way.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Who will
That's because of cap space. Otherwise, they
Obviously,
would have
yeah.
signed him as a free agent.
Who will make the biggest impact on their new team? Gordon Hayward, Paul George, Chris Paul, or Jimmy Butler?
Jimmy Buckets, 100%.
He's a dude.
Because you look at the talent that's already around him at the Wolves. OKC, Rockets, they're already playoff teams. I think the Wolves will now be a playoff team. You look at, they've got Karl Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, Jimmy Butler, and they've just got Jeff Teague. And they've got now Taj Gibson. That's their starting 5. That's a good starting 5. That is a playoff starting 5. They are now going to go from just all right, they've got potential, to now they're a playoff team. Whether that means they can challenge for the conference finals, I don't know, maybe not. But now they are surely going to be a playoff team, in my opinion. And I think Jimmy Butler's going to have the biggest impact out of all those players. Boston with or without Hayward, I think would have gone back to the conference finals next year. The Rockets...
And lost.
Yeah, maybe. yeah.
I think Shannon Sharp said on Undisputed that, you know, that he's only going to take them from winning or losing from a massive margin just a bit closer. So imagine in the conference finals next year, they go against Cleveland, and instead of losing, I don't know, 4-2 or 4-1, they might lose 4-2. That's it. I'm not saying Gordon Hayward is bad.
And the Rockets and Thunder are still going to be playoff teams. The Rockets may challenge though with Chris Paul, but that's not just because of Chris Paul. I think they may challenge if they get Melo as well. So it's not just Chris Paul. So that's why I think Jimmy Butler will have the biggest impact because the Wolves will go to the playoffs next year.
All right, for me, let me just dissect this a little bit. Gordon Hayward, like I just said, I don't think he'll be... he's a good player, top player, and he'll help their team. But in terms of going against the cap, it's just not going to happen.
By the way, I'm not disrespecting Paul George. I think they're a playoff team with Westbrook. They're now an even better playoff team with Paul George. But I also think Paul George will leave next summer.
You think he'll leave after 1 year?
Yeah.
Why?
LA.
You think
LA's LA.
They're building something special there right now, man. They're building something special there, man. Like, yeah, there's the controversy of LeVar Ball and whatever, but Lonzo Ball, man, he's doing his thing, man. They're building something special out there.
You've got his dad on Monday Night Raw, shirt off, doing kung fu fighting.
Luke Walton's a good coach, man. Magic behind him as well.
Yeah,
they're building something special.
Yeah, it's going to take a few years, but...
So let's just let me dissect this a little bit. So Gordon Hayward is obviously... he's helped the Celtics.
I think Hayward confirms that they're the second best team in the East.
That's it. But that's their ceiling. 2, second. Runner up.
I think if they were
That's it.
able to get someone like Blake as well as Hayward,
Possibly,
maybe,
it
but
changes the East a little bit.
Yeah.
But
But that's
sorry,
not happening.
the Cleveland Cavaliers, as long as LeBron is there, will be the kings of the East. That's it. There's no dispute. You might get a little bit, and it's weird because they actually won the conference last year. I think people always, I even think of that sometimes. They did win the conference last year, but doesn't matter because you're still ultimately going to have to play Cleveland.
oh, do you mean as in they got top seed?
They actually got the top seed last year.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because you're just not good enough. Not in a bad way, but in terms of going against LeBron, Kyrie, and those boys, yeah, sorry, man.
No,
But Gordon
completely
Hayward's a
agree.
solid player. Paul George will get OKC further into the playoffs. So in that regard, he will make a bit
Second
of an
round.
impact. Possibly second round. We'll see how injury as well if they don't. No one gets injured. Team chemistry as well. Jimmy Butler, totally agree with you. Very, very good take on your behalf. Obviously, you've got players around him now. Oh, sorry. He's obviously gone to a team where they have immense talent, monumental talent. They've added to their team. Jeff Teague.
Yeah.
They've added players there. Yeah, but here's where I kind of disagree with you. They've only gone from a non-contender or no-seeded team to a playoff team. So it's a big impact, but in terms of actually winning things, and here's who will make the bigger impact, Chris Paul. Chris Paul will elevate Houston from, I would say they're still semi-contenders to actual contenders now. People will look to Houston
fair.
Rockets as, oh my God, there's a problem here. You also said if they acquire Carmelo Anthony also, this will propel them from third
If
round.
they already had Melo, I would have said CP3.
But even without CP3, I still think Chris Paul, what he did with the Clippers, he elevated that team amazingly. And they got close a couple times. But with this team, with Houston Rockets and James Harden and all the shooters around him, they have amazing players. And this will elevate them amazingly into, you never know, it could, if things go their way, and if they can stop Golden State somehow, I think that's.
I think if they get Melo, we could be looking at a Rockets Warriors conference final.
Rockets Warriors conference final is probably that's probably my pick as well, definitely. For the West, definitely. So we'll just go into this now. So who do you think will be the biggest threat to the Western Conference? And so obviously I just said the Rockets.
If they get Melo.
There's still the Spurs.
Yep. I think Spurs will be the biggest
Second
threat.
or third.
I think Spurs will be second if Rockets don't get Melo. If they get Melo, Rockets will be the main threat to the Warriors.
There's the Wolves, but against OKC.
Wolves is just going to be a nice team to watch.
They'll be a nice little team to watch, but against.
But they're coming now. Let's be clear here. The Wolves are coming if they manage to keep holding their players in the coming years.
OKC, I see them as a threat. I see them as someone that the Warriors shouldn't just brush aside.
Oh no.
Obviously they
You've
have
got
obviously
MVP and you've
as well.
got Paul George.
There you go. But again, I think the biggest threat to the Warriors dynasty right now is the Rockets. They're the ones that, they took a very
And I
elite,
still don't fancy them to beat the Warriors.
they took an elite point guard. They acquired an elite point guard, a leader, a floor general amongst their team. And it's a threat, but you still have Steph Curry. So...
And KD.
And KD.
And Clay.
Clay Thompson.
And Iggy. And Dre.
Again...
And Swaggy P.
Yes. You were saying how Paul George might go to LA. There's rumblings that Clay Thompson might go to LA.
There's rumblings that Westbrook might go to LA.
See,
there's rumblings that LeBron might go to LA. I think the one that actually there's concrete truth in going to LA, is PG.
Yeah, definitely.
If they had assets, they would have made the trade now. They just don't have any assets.
But this is why I like Lonzo Ball, because he can attract these sort of players. Yes, it helps if you have Magic Johnson.
I think BG would have gone regardless of Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball may attract players in the coming future, but I think Paul George would have gone to LA regardless. I think he's just got his heart set on there. So I think the Thunder is just a gap year.
Yeah. Right, now let's go into a bit of sad news for if you're a Miami Heat fan.
Bosh.
Now, obviously, All-Star forward Chris Bosh, he's now an unrestricted free agent after Miami Heat waived him earlier on this week. Obviously, Chris Bosh has battled with blood clots over the last 2 years and hasn't played since the 15-16 season, when he actually averaged over 19 points, 7 rebounds and 2 assists in just 53 games. That's key. In just 53
he's a great
games.
player.
Obviously, he was part of that Miami Heat team that won the championship 2012 and 2013.
The big three.
The massive, career legend-saving rebound that helped LeBron's legacy.
Ray Allen ain't making that shot unless Bosh gets that rebound.
Everything had to go perfectly, and
it did.
No one will forget that.
And to be able to pick out Ray Allen, and Ray Allen's just there ready,
Brilliant.
knowing he's
Perfect
going
play.
to give it to him.
And obviously, no one will obviously forget the things he did for Miami Heat. But, could you see a team risking signing Chris Bosh?
Not a chance. Not a chance. Doctors won't medically clear him, so NBA teams won't touch him. He's as good as retired right now. It's harsh, but it's the reality we've got right now. Miami are retiring his jersey.
Respectable.
Number 1.
Respectable.
And
Respectable.
a lot of class there. In their eyes, there won't ever be another Chris Bosh. So yeah, it's sad, but
Well, no, for Chris Bosh. Personally, I would.
I don't know what's next. Maybe maybe he goes into punditry. I don't know. Maybe
Possibly.
possibly. I imagine there's a lot of opportunities out there for Chris Bosh because he was a great player, and I imagine he's got.
Still is.
You
Honestly, yeah, like you said, obviously a lot of these former players obviously do go into punditry or coaching.
I imagine he's got a great mind for the game.
Definitely high IQ on the court.
I'd love to hear stories from him.
Could he be a possible
He could be
coach?
great on the open court.
Could he be just behind the scenes, maybe
Yeah.
an assistant for Miami Heat? I don't think they should
TNT, get him signed up. I'd love to see him on the open court and talk about that game-winning rebound
Yeah, that would be amazing.
shot.
Like,
Yeah,
imagine
just
they
to
did
go
that.
through that. Like, what was he thinking then?
Yeah, what made him go for it? Obviously, if it was a contested rebound as well. But honestly, I think Chris Bosh, I don't think he should leave Miami in terms
Well,
of the organisation.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they should still keep him in, he could be an
I imagine they will
offensive
try and
coach.
support him in any way they can.
Yeah, definitely.
They
man,
still need to pay him.
That's another thing as well. They're still gonna
It's
pay
going
him.
to be done in. He's owed 52 million, but it's going to be done in small packages of just over 400,000 each time.
think
over a
they're
long spread of
doing it off the books as well.
Yeah.
So it doesn't interfere with their cap space,
Yep.
which is
And that's why they're doing it in
it
small
makes sense.
supplements of just over 400k each.
I understand what
package.
they're doing. At the end of the day, Miami Heat are still an organisation that still need to compete right now.
Oh, of
Obviously,
course.
had a very top player.
And I'm sure
Not
Chris Bosh
100%.
understands that, and he's still going to be getting his money.
That's the thing, yeah. So he could just sit at home and watch Netflix and drink green tea for the rest of his life.
He's not going to do it yet.
Oh, I've upgraded from green tea to lemon and ginger.
There you go, Chris Bosh. Take notes from this man.
But yeah, shout out to Chris Bosh. Obviously, you're a legend, and people
Much
look
respect
at
for what you've
you
done
as
in your
such.
career.
I definitely agree with Jack. And yeah, hopefully, if he does go open court or TNT, jokes with Shaq and them boys, punditry, then shout out to whatever his next endeavor is. So yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and the last thing we want to speak about in the NBA is obviously the 2012 OKC team. So obviously the Serge Ibaka.
It wasn't a bad team looking back in hindsight.
It wasn't a bad team. We have the
You're looking at
finals
an
MVP
NBA. You're looking at
and
an NBA
champion.
finalist in 2012.
We're looking at the runner-up MVP of 2017 and then the eventual MVP of 2017, which is Russell Westbrook.
And Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, Serge Ibaka. So this team was, and they had Reggie Jackson as well, but they let him go. But
Yep, of course.
So-
to the Pistons.
how far could this 20 team have gone, and how many championships could they have won? You made a good point saying Warriors still would have been Warriors. There was no way you would have stopped that
And
train
LeBron
coming.
still would have gone to the Cavs.
So then in that case, how many would they have won? Let's
I'd
be realistic
say
here.
1.
One since 2012? In 5 years, they would have won 1 chip. I say 2.
I'd say minimum 1, but they would have been there every year as a contender.
Definitely.
I think they would have been challenging the Warriors. And the Warriors would have had to, because of them being finalists in 2012, before the Warriors, they would have been the team in the West. It would have been interesting to see what would have happened in
No one left.
2014
Yeah.
with the Spurs going at it again.
Yeah, exactly.
With,
Because didn't they sweep the Spurs? They swept the Spurs, like, was it 2012? Or there was 1 year they swept them.
They swept the Lakers, didn't they?
But are you sure they swept the Spurs?
Might have. I can't
They
remember the
beat
running.
the Spurs, and this is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
They might.
But
have
what I'm
won
saying is
two. Yeah.
They started to fold in 2014, didn't they?
Obviously, yeah.
They might have
James
challenged
Harden,
Spurs for the final spot in 2014, and then it would have been down to the Warriors to overcome the mighty OKC.
This is what I'm trying to say, man.
The Warriors,
NBA gods didn't let this happen.
The Spurs kind of just like slowed down after 2014, and that's when the Warriors
Start to rise, yeah.
rise and take their spot. But the Warriors would have had to take.
In fact.
The Warriors would have had to take on OKC, and then you would have had LeBron versus KD again, most likely.
Yeah.
Cavs versus OKC.
It would have been
And
interesting.
you definitely would have had a much more balanced NBA.
Especially in the West.
Oh no, just
Especially in the
everywhere.
West.
You just wouldn't have everyone squadding up.
Yeah. But now they're squad up because of the Warriors.
Yeah, like it would have been a much more interesting NBA because you would have gone into the playoffs every year thinking, right, there's the Spurs, there's the Warriors, and then you've got OKC. And then you've also got the Cavs.
Yeah.
So it's between those three and who can face the Cavs. You wouldn't have just gone, oh yeah, it's Warriors, Cavs. Yeah, it's Warriors, Cavs again.
This year.
Yeah, it's Warriors, Cavs.
It's true.
I mean, people talk about the trilogy. Oh, but it's a trilogy of Warriors versus Cavs. This is so good. This is what basketball's all about. Trilogy? They're going to do the exact same thing next year. It's going to be Warriors, Cavs again for the fourth time in a row.
Remember we said this, I think, when Kevin was on
Ain't
the
no
show.
trilogy.
But when we said this when Kevin was on the show, like, it's good and bad. I like when they go at it because when you look at the 80s, we see the Lakers and Celtics.
Yeah, it's great.
So this is more for like...
the playoffs is just like...
That's true, yeah, you're right.
Like we
It's
already
whack.
know.
Yeah, it's whack.
We
It's
already
whack.
know.
Yeah, you don't care about certain playoff teams. Yeah, you're
That's
right.
why I think the
All
Wolves
round,
are going to be really fun to watch because they're going to be a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Like, we know they're not going to win, but we're still
See
eager
how
to
far they're
watch
gonna
them.
go, yeah.
Plus, who doesn't like Jimmy Buckets? Apart from the Bulls organisation.
I just love players that, like, obviously you still like the players who obviously get drafted from like 1 to 10 and they got big hype. Obviously if Lonzo does well, if Markel Fultz does well, obviously we're gonna be happy. But I like the Draymond Greens of the world, the Isaiah Thomases of the world. But he was first round.
Yeah, it's true.
I love
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard. I love the players that Rajon Rondo, the players you don't look at.
And they just explode
and then
in
they
the scene.
explode and they're amazing now.
Yeah.
I love those sort of players. So yeah, man, we'll see. That's why I like Jimmy Butler anyway. But yeah, okay. In my opinion, I reckon OKC would have won 2 championships. 20. Ooh, nah, because they would have won. I reckon they would have beat. I reckon they would have avenged their loss in 2012 and beat Miami Heat in 2013. And I would.
Nah,
OKC would have gone back to back.
Spurs would have got there in 2013.
OKC back to back.
OKC in 2014.
OKC 2013 to avenge 2012, and then back to back in 2014. Back to back champions. That's what would happen if this team still stayed together. Back to back champions. Yes or no?
OKC 2014, and I reckon they would have beat the Warriors in 2015, maybe. But then would the Warriors had the motivation they had for the 2015-2016 season when they had the career? What a career record.
Oh yeah, the regular season record, yeah.
And that was motivation because they felt they were disrespected as champions.
That's true. That's true. Right, guys, that's all from us, and only one can win. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.